All right, let's dive into a huge story today. Pakistan's high-stakes quest to literally power its future. We're talking billions of dollars, incredibly tricky geopolitics, and, get this, a surprisingly small team right at the center of it all.
I mean, just think about that for a second. That is a monumental question, right? For Pakistan, this isn't some academic thought experiment. It is the critical challenge of our time. And this is about so much more than just keeping the lights on. It's about fueling the engine of an entire economy.
And this really gets to the heart of the issue we're exploring. Pakistan is up against a serious and growing energy deficit. We're not talking about a minor inconvenience here. This is a direct threat to industrial growth, to jobs, and to the nation's overall economic stability. The stakes? They're incredibly high.
So who exactly is tasked with solving this colossal problem? Well, let's meet the architects, a specialized government entity called Interstate Gas Systems, or as we'll call it, ISGS. ISGS was created for one single massive purpose: to be the driving force behind Pakistan's most ambitious energy projects. It was set up way back in 1996, and its job is to build and manage these huge cross-border pipelines needed to bring in natural gas.
Their mission statement pretty much says it all. The goal is to create a reliable and sustainable flow of energy for the country. And this isn't just business as usual. It's a matter of national energy security.
Okay, and this is where the story gets truly fascinating. Behind these gigantic, multi-billion-dollar ventures is a surprisingly small team. I'm not kidding. The core group of experts at ISGS is only about 20 to 25 people. Just let that sink in for a moment. A handful of specialists are responsible for projects of immense national importance. It's incredible.
So, how in the world does a small team like that plan to pull off such a monumental goal? Well, their whole vision really rests on 4 major projects, and each one is a massive undertaking designed to connect Pakistan to the world's biggest energy reserves. And the scale of their ambition is just immense. You've got TAPI, which is supposed to bring gas all the way from Central Asia. Then there's the Iran-Pakistan Pipeline, or IP. There's also the Pakistan Stream Gas Pipeline, working with Russian partners. And finally, a strategic storage project called SUJ. Each one is a critical piece of the puzzle, with enormous capacity. We're talking billions of cubic feet per day. But as we're about to see, each project is facing its own unique and very tough set of challenges.
Look, this is about more than just putting pipes in the ground. It's really a multi-billion-dollar geopolitical strategy. The endgame here is to turn Pakistan into a vital energy hub, connecting the resource-rich areas of Central Asia and the Middle East with the hungry, growing markets of South Asia.
But, big ambitions always run into reality. And the reality of building massive pipelines that cross multiple countries is, well, it's anything but simple. So let's take a hard look at the complex geopolitical world these projects have to survive in.
And this whole quest, it's not new, not at all. The key agreements for these major pipelines were signed more than a decade ago. It has been a very long road of diplomatic handshakes and, honestly, frustrating delays. It all leads up to that 2024 approval for just a tiny piece of the Iran-Pakistan pipeline.
And this really shows you the gap between the dream and the reality, especially with that Iran-Pakistan pipeline. The original grand plan was for a nearly 2,000-kilometer energy lifeline. The current reality? An 80-kilometer segment. And the main reason for building it is just to avoid getting hit with huge legal penalties, all while the bigger project is completely stalled by international sanctions.
So what are the main roadblocks here?
Well, international sanctions are a huge one, especially for that pipeline with Iran. Then you have regional instability, particularly in Afghanistan, which has put the brakes on the TAPI project. And on top of all that, just trying to get the money and get all the international partners on the same page is a constant, complex struggle.
So, faced with all these obstacles that just won't go away, ISGS has had to get creative and adapt its strategy. So what's the next move? It's really a mix of smart, pragmatic pivots and exploring totally new ideas.
Let's break down the thinking on that IP pipeline decision, because it's pretty clever. The immediate problem was the threat of billions in penalties because of delays. So the move was to build a small, manageable 80-kilometer piece. And the goal here is twofold. First, deal with that immediate legal risk, and second, keep the door open for the full project if and when the whole geopolitical situation changes.
But the strategy is also evolving beyond just building more pipelines. ISGS is now looking very seriously at a whole new frontier for Pakistan's energy security: strategic underground gas storage.
So what is SUGS exactly? Think of it as creating a national energy safety net.
The idea is to take old, empty gas fields and turn them into these massive underground storage tanks. This would create a national reserve, a buffer you can use to handle supply shocks or those huge demand spikes in the winter. At the end of the day, it's about giving Pakistan more control over its own energy future.
And that kind of brings us to our final thought. As Pakistan continues this massive quest for energy security, these huge projects are living in a strange sort of dual reality. They're designed to be bridges, right? Connecting nations and economies. But in the volatile world we live in, they can just as easily become geopolitical battlegrounds. And that tension, right there, that is what's going to define Pakistan's energy future.